Well, here we are, Camp Hook'em football, that is, episode number 3 of this series. And Danny Davis joining us from the Austin American-Statesman. Always love his content, his insight, his opinions, and, of course, his humor. And Stevie Lee, I know we do our series, The Pass Rush, with you, but this is your first time simply because you've had a very busy parental life with volleyball schedules. And We're glad you can make it, man, because I know that you got to find those windows of time.
Yeah, this is a good time. Let's just say for this week, this is a good time for this week.
Before we move forward, I got to point out, because you will be watching this the day of a special rivalry, that being the Taco Shack Bowl in Austin, Texas. It's essentially a high school football bowl game. And Danny, whose wife is a valued educator there at McCallum High School, I'm an Anderson Trojan. He has become a McCallum Knight through osmosis, and he covered them too, and he covered high school sports. But here we go, Anderson Trojans, McCallum football on your right. Danny, I'm not one to pick high school games, but, man, I love the attempt to place animosity between us tonight on this episode.
There's no animosity over here. I mean, in my opinion, my beautiful wife is a Knight. I believe Mama C was a Knight too. So I think McCallum has all. Doesn't matter what the score is. I think McCallum's winning just by those two ties right there. I mean, if Anderson wants to claim you, they can claim you, but I'll take the McCallum all day long, and we'll see what happens tomorrow at House Park.
Hey, it's going to be fun. It's always fun. And if you're watching this, I think there's tickets still available. Beautiful scene, great pre-gaming at Shoal Creek Saloon, our sponsor here. It's definitely not crawfish season. They still have good Cajun delights, cold beverages, and there's plenty of space. Even on the patio, it may be 184 degrees, but it's covered. They have fans and spray mist. If that's still too hot, just walk inside, and you'll be taken care of and watch all those games or whatnot, and then walk down to House Park Stadium and choose what side you want to be on, with Danny on the McCallum, which is the home side, or come find me and all the blue and gold. But either way, you're winning. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the records, man. It looks pretty even throughout the years. From 2002 to 2021, looks pretty even.
It is. Anderson leads the series 11-10.
And it's high school football season. It's the kickoff of the fall. It doesn't matter. We're all winning that football's here. So I'm just happy we got some actual football to talk about. I mean, I know we're still talking about training camp, but I'm tired of training camp. Let's talk about actual football, and that starts the Taco Shack Bowl.
It does.
What my coach used to say is, now game week, we're playing with live bullets now.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. Yeah. And as Danny said, we're talking tackle football in its purest form, but unfortunately, we still have another week of camp, and much love to Danny and everyone in the Austin media and whomever else drives in or flies into Austin to cover camp, because it's August camp's not fun for anybody, including the players and coaches, but you got to do it. Which leads us to our first topic tonight, gentlemen: the potential of this offense. And, when you say you have 10 returning starters and what I think is a great offensive line, great tight end, and all these pieces, what is it about this O-line that you think gives it the greatest potential, or what is their potential? Starting with you, Danny.
I mean, obviously experience helps out. I mean, that's where we start. When you bring back 5 starters, I don't know how many schools across the country can claim that. I mean, that's something that's pretty unheard of. And then you just look at the guys behind him. I mean, these are all, if DJ Campbell is one of those guys that's, fighting for a spot in the starting lineup after not getting a start last year, you just look at him, you look at his profile. That's a guy who could be playing at most schools. And so you just look down the board. I think Texas feels comfortable right now with about eight offensive linemen, and those big boys can play. And whether or not you want to give a shout out to NIL for getting some of those gentlemen to campus, or some of that stuff that's been going on. I mean, they're here, they're hungry, and they're ready to go to work. And I think they made some pretty good strides last year. And I mean, Kelvin Banks is going to be a first-round pick in 2 years or whatever it is. Once the second he's able to leave campus, and that's a good foundational piece. And then you just go across the board with, Christian Jones, the strides he made. Jake Majors is a good veteran guy leading from the center position, and just Hayden Connor, maybe the smartest person in the athletic department. He's an interesting fellow. He's got a lot of good, talented, interesting linemen there, and I think that's a good place to start. I don't think Kyle Flood is losing much sleep worrying about his offensive line, because he has 5 returning starters and 3 guys right behind him who can definitely get plugged in if need be.
Yeah, Flood is definitely stealing money right now. But I don't know. Were you coming to me, Sean?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the offensive line, man. I think that they have another year under their belt and learning the offense, right? And so they had some experience last year, but this offseason was really focused on getting in the playbook. A lot of coaches, Flood wouldn't trust you on the field if you can't recall every single audible in what set you're in, So now these guys got it, and they can pick and choose and put people where they need to be, because these guys, I think, know the playbook now.
No, that's fair. And I know we mentioned it on the first 2 episodes, but it's always begins and ends who's under center, or in this case, who's receiving the snap in a shotgun. But Quinn Ewers, there was a lot of criticism for the guy, but his stats weren't bad. There was a stretch like that Oklahoma State game last year where there were 30 incompletions, but when we found out that both he and Xavier had injuries on their hands, wrist, whatnot, it's not excusable, but they were playing hurt. And that was really Quinn's first time to really see what you saw, live bullets as a starting quarterback. But when he was asked, and I think Danny may have asked this, what's the difference between Quinn of last year in this same camp? It wasn't as hot, but it was hot enough to now.
Mainly just the knowledge of the offense. Because this time last year, I was still, trying to pick up, the offense and certain checks and whatnot and stuff like that. And this year, I can just kind of be more me and play more freely, and not have to think as much about, what does this guy have? It just automatically clicks, which is huge for my position, because I can, focus more on fronts.
So, Danny, first thing I notice about Quinn, honestly, is his comfort to talk to you in the media. It just didn't seem like that was something he was overly comfortable with a year ago. Uh-oh.
Muted.
Uh-oh, he's muted.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
You figure after 4 years of this live, I would have figured that out. But yeah, I mean, I think I've said this before. I mean, Quinn was essentially a freshman last year. I mean, he redshirted that year at Ohio State when he should have been a senior in high school, doing all the dumb stuff we all did as seniors in high school. I mean, he was getting baptized at Ohio State. Last year was his first year as the man, and you're going to have struggles. I think sometimes it's going to happen if Arch happens to play, or some other big time freshman plays. I mean, sometimes we just expect a lot. We expect these players to be first round draft picks, and that just isn't always how it happens. There's an adjustment period. Quinn looked really good against Oklahoma. He looked great in that Alabama first quarter. He did not look good against Oklahoma State and TCU, and I don't think that should be held against him. That TCU team turned out to be pretty damn good. And so, there were going to be learning curves. There's going to be adjustments. He was going to have to learn how to, deal with the media, deal with his off-field obligations, deal with the pressure of being the quarterback at the University of Texas. This isn't South Lake Carroll. This isn't, Texas State. Nothing against the Bobcats. This isn't the University of Montana or Stephen F. Austin. This is the University of Texas. There's a lot that goes into being the quarterback here. And so I think there was some bumps last year that should be expected, and we'll see if he's kind of learned a lot from them and see what this next year is. And if it doesn't work out, we'll probably say the same stuff about Arch or Malik if they get in. But I think we should have expected some bumps and bruises last year, and they happened.
Yes, I do. I saw him in the spring. There is some differences, but I'm not gonna lie, Malik looked really good too, right? And there's somebody chomping at your heels. That gives you a little bit of motivation to straps to pull your bootstraps up, So he he has pressure behind him. Let's just put it that way, because I really, really like Malik. Malik can throw the ball over the middle and hit quarterbacks in stride, and without breaking a step, these quarterbacks can reach out, get it, and keep going. So I saw that in the spring, and the same amount of time that Quinn had to learn this playbook, Malik did too. So I don't want to put out a quarterback controversy out there right now, but I think it's a brewing, actually.
You know what? I think we all can agree competition is essential and it's productive in all aspects of life. I mean, it makes us all better. I mean, because there have been several years in recent history in which the quarterback room was very void of talent. I'm just saying. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, but it's I think that's good. I think you both bring up a good point that he can only get better. And I think some of the criticism to Danny's point was unjust because that was his first really live action. He missed his senior year of high school and jumped right in and didn't really play any significant snaps at Ohio State. But I think we all can agree this O-line could perhaps be the best in the country. Was at an RBI event with Rod Babers, and he said, a lot of defensive coordinators, despite how good these linemen are, that all these coordinators are on to Sark. There are tendencies he's shown how to beat these linemen defensively, shoot the gaps, especially after the 20-play scripted offense that he has for every game. But don't y'all think that with this offensive line and Flood and maybe Sark, I'm sure, has matured a little bit. I mean, everybody has to get better. I mean, Danny, the guy is a great speaker. He seems like he treats you guys really well. He seems like he's very cool, calm demeanor. Talking about Sark.
Well, I guess as long as you're not some ESPN assistant pushing up on him against he's calm and collected. But yeah, I mean, Steve gets paid a lot of money, and he gets paid a lot of money to design this offense and make adjustments, and we'll see if he can do that. I mean, he's had success in the past. It's no surprise that there's been some defensive coordinators who are also well compensated that have figured some stuff out. But I mean, that's the chess game that is football. I mean, that's what these coaches get paid a lot more than any of us on this call right now get paid to figure out. So we'll see if he can do that, and if he can't, I'm sure his seat will be a little warm. But yeah, I think he's a good enough coach to figure that out, and he has the talented pieces. It's a little easier to design some stuff when you have that much talent on your offense and you're a good offensive mind as well.
Okay, it's my turn now.
Oh, always, yeah. We'll go Danny to you.
Yeah, Shark, you're right. Shark just pays a lot of money to orchestrate this offense, but in the same breath, we'll push back on Rob Abers a little bit, which is one of my really good friends, and I don't know if you know this, Sean, but Rob Babers introduced me in summer. My wife.
That's right. You did tell me that.
Yeah. So, and he's a teammate. So I'm gonna push back a little bit. Yeah, great guy. Pushing back a little bit is, I think Shark could not open up his playbook like he could this year. And so the defensive coordinators may have had to figure him out because he had a limited playbook. Mm-hmm. Because everyone was still new and learning his playbook. I mean, we had true freshmen starting on O-line, true freshmen that had just come in a month ago playing big-time college football, So now we got all that under our belt. I think he went from this big of a playbook to this big of a playbook. that these kids can actually that he can pull from for these kids. So I want to push back on that just a little bit.
No, I get it. That's a good point. But I think let's be real with each other. Texas fans as a whole, they're like the New York Yankees fans. They expect the championship every year.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's been very mediocre around here for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
Everybody gets so fired up, they get buy into the guys, and I understand it. And that, you come to places like that. But
Sean, you shut your dirty mouth.
But it's the truth. It is. It's. I hate saying it, but it's the truth. It
is.
But I get it. You brought up a great point that there were so many newcomers. I mean, isn't it kind of rare? I mean, it is kind of rare for a lot of offensive linemen to just plug in now as a freshman.
Yeah.
And it is. But when you have guys like this with the incentive to post things like what I'm about to show you on social media, maybe these freshman old linemen aren't so green when you get to pose in front of a Lambo like Jake Majors did. So that's a great photo. He didn't get the NIL deal like Bijan did, but first off, I didn't know there was a purple Lamborghini. And Danny, you may be able to elaborate a little bit more about this situation here.
First off, Sean, I don't make enough money to know that there's a purple. I don't know why you're coming to me. You know what journalists make, so I don't know why I'm being asked about this. But yeah, I mean, good for Jake. I think at this point in the NIL game, I don't know how the people feel with this. I just don't care. Like,
yeah,
good for the kids, good for these athletes being able to cash in and have some fun and make some money. But I have enough stuff in my own life to worry about when it comes to money and cars and in my home and all that stuff that I don't have time to worry about these 19, 20, 21-year-olds. I hope they're having fun and they're able to go make your money, go do whatever you want to do. But you're just not going to get me to care. Now, if Jake wants to give me a ride around campus, sometimes it's a little hot right now walking to and from practice, he to the parking garage. If he wants to let me jump in, I'll gladly accept a ride, but I'm not going to care too much about what he's driving around campus.
Yeah, a few things about this, though. The reason he's sitting on the car like that is because he cannot fit his body in his entire body into the car. So that's one. Two, come on, y'all, do y'all like hip hop? There's a whole song called Purple Lamborghini by Rick Ross and Skrillex. Y'all know Skrillex?
No, of Skrillex, yeah.
Skrillex is one of my favorite electronic dance music DJs, man. I go to Vegas every year with the boys just to go see electronic dance music DJs at parties. But he's one of my favorite. He got a song with Rick Ross called Purple Lamborghini. Check it out. The
real reason and Christian Jones, who has really become a really good old lineman. He's been here for a decade, it seems. But he commented on this and kind of gave us some insight on why. What happened with Jake Majors and Lambo. Pretty good deal either way.
So, it was interesting because, we were like, okay, hold on, did he get it? Because we knew he had an internship there. He was telling us about his summer internship, and he was, showering real quick after workouts, eating lunch, and going to his internship, on some big boy business, and I'm very proud of him for that. But the way that they had it set up, he thought he got that Lambo. So I kind of wish he did, honestly, just to represent the bigs that we could fit in that car, too.
No, you can't. You cannot fit in that car. I promise you cannot fit in that car. You might can get the convertible, the Spider, and stick your head out the top, but nah, you're not getting in that car, sir. And I think Ferrari store down in South Austin need to step their game up.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
competition, man. Get on board the NIL deal. Let's go. Or internships for football players.
Absolutely.
This came to me a little bit of surprise, or maybe not, because I to Danny's point of being a journalist, you're always looking for a hot angle or something to, or in some digital cases, clickbait. Danny does not partake in clickbait. He writes good pieces, but there's a clickbait material. There, I saw this, and I think it was Yahoo Sports had a college football coach hot seat list, and there he was, Coach Sarkisian, in at number 3. So what would really put him in jeopardy for next year? I'm going to say if he loses 5+ games, if he goes 8, well, I think he's got to reach 9 wins this year.
Yeah. So for me, it's winning the games or losing the games you're not supposed to lose, right? I think that's what got Charlie Strong on the hot seat, and others on the hot seat. Like, I mean, we know what games we're not supposed to lose, right? I don't want to even speak them, but doing something like that and then losing control of the team, right? If the team doesn't trust you or lose control, you lose control. And these kids got a lot of power right now in this new era of college football. So if you lose control of your team, then it's lights out for you, and that'll put you on an even hotter hot seat. But I think it's a little in my opinion, it's a little premature to put him on a hot seat right now.
I agree,
Danny. I mean, if you put him on a hot seat, I'll push back on that a little bit, but I don't know if the writers know something that I don't know, but it's a little premature.
I feel with this conversation, you're correct that a lot of this is just getting some cheap engagement during August as we're all kind of board and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, this is still Texas. We just saw Tom Herman get fired after having moderate success here, and yes, there was that wasn't just about wins and losses.
right?
Charlie was run out of here in 3 years, and maybe not given the complete fair shot that he deserved because the product just wasn't what these fans demand. Steve is still going to have 3 years, I believe, on his deal after this year. So that's not going to be a cheap deal to get out of. But I'm not CDC. I don't have to raise the money. I don't have to write that check to for that buyout. But I think at the end of the day, CDC, Jay Hartzell, whoever on the board of regents would make that decision. They had to decide whether they feel comfortable with the direction of this program as they go to the SEC. And I feel that unless there's a complete disaster, they probably feel that they have the right guy. And this is why they went out and got Steve a couple years ago. I'm not going to put a number on wins and losses because stuff happens, injuries happen. You don't want to necessarily pigeonhole someone into something. But yeah, there's expectations on this team, and if they don't meet them, that's going to be a disappointment. And if that does happen, there's going to have to be some decisions to be made. But I think it's probably, as you said, a little premature to be saying Steve Sarkisian, head coach of the number 11 ranked Texas Longhorns, is going into a season on the hot seat. But this Texas team, it is time for them to start living up to some expectations. The Alamo Bowl is not acceptable again for another 26th straight year, whatever it be. So it's time to put up or shut up. But I don't necessarily think Steve needs to be sweating unless things go completely off the rails, which they shouldn't. This is a talented team, but stranger things have happened.
Come on, Danny. I really enjoy crossing paths late at night at San Antonio on the roads of San Antonio.
First off, you do not remember running into me last year because you had some fun already. By the time I ran into you, it was quite late at night, and you do not. There's no way you remember.
I do.
I remember because I was working and had not had anything to celebrate the night with. But you had fun. I was jealous of the evening that you had. But there's no way you remember running into me.
Was it margaritas or Mexican martinis, man?
It was started out at Pat O'Brien's.
Oh, awesome. Great place.
Which was not a good decision.
Oh, it's a great decision. So Hurricanes.
It was the first lady of the man cave was there.
Tess.
And it was a lot of people. And but the game was not so friendly. They didn't have a running game because their NFL backs were not there.
Yeah,
on the field. But it was the icing on the cake. Gave Danny Davis a man hug, and it was like that trademark goofy laugh of mine surfaced. I saw him. I was a little stunned. He was ready to go back to Austin, but I think he probably stayed there overnight. I would imagine you did there in San Antonio.
It was a late night, not as late of a night as you had, but I was ready to go to bed.
Hey, before we take a quick break, we got to remember what a lot of people will say, who is a Longhorn legend. Bill Little was given an opportunity by Darrell Royal and to be a student assistant to the sports information staff, became the SID, would later mentor John Bianco, who arrived at Texas in the early 90s. But Bill Little, to me, I enjoyed him thoroughly as growing up here in Austin, listening to him do play-by-play of Texas Longhorn baseball. It just seemed and felt right, and it just was Texas baseball, in my opinion. It just was that old school, but beautiful, just talented individual. But he has a portion of the press box named after him. And Danny, you've been on a committee with him. Stevie, you know Bill all too well. He recently passed away at the age of 81, I believe. I know he was battling some illness involving his heart. But 81 years, great, and his lovely wife right there in the middle. We are all praying for the Little family, including those that we know through other acquaintances. Danny, I'll start with you. You've had the pleasure of working closely with Bill here in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, I got on the Texas beat after Bill had retired, but he was always around. I mean, the baseball press box and the football press box are both named after him. So he was always around and was always kind and gracious to me. Always fun to talk shop with him. And like you mentioned, I served on a scholarship committee with him and his wife, Kim, and that was a lot of fun, getting to find some money for some of the local high school student athletes. So obviously I don't have the war stories that maybe some of the older journalists have. I wasn't able to go head to head with Bill on a controversial Texas story or anything like that, or I didn't need to use him for some of his historical contacts, which he was a walking history book. But all my interactions with Bill were great, and obviously, like as you said, condolences to Kim and his family. But he was a great guy to know, and obviously he will be missed on campus. 100%.
Yeah, Bill was around the program when I was there back in the early 2000s, and I remember Bill. I didn't know what he was, what he did. I just thought that he was the historian.
Yeah,
that walked around and kept historical facts. I didn't know he was the old SID, the old John Bianco, the original John Bianco. I remember he. I don't know, was he master of ceremonies or did the keynote one year at our football banquet at the University of Texas, and he got up there and read a story, and he took the audience that you can hear a rat piss on cotton, right, in the building, and so everyone was locked into him, and it was a big building. It was in the Frank Irwin Center. And it was captivating. Like he drew you in with his stories, and he read a story. I don't even remember what story it was, but I remember him just reading a story to the team. And everyone, he had everyone on the edge of their seats, and it wasn't boisterous or yelling at you or anything like that. He had a soothing voice. In fact, I thought I offended him once by saying, "Mr. Little, I just want you to just come and read me a bedtime story." And I was like, "Oh wait, that sounds like that you're boring and I want to fall asleep, but it doesn't. I just like the way you speak and you draw me in and things like that." He was like, "I understood what you meant." So But no, he was a great historian. I hope that I think he didn't he help co-write Coach Brown's book or So
with Jenna McEachern.
And so I just hope that all those facts and all the knowledge that he had is on paper somewhere, all of it. I know he's put a lot out, but for me in the program, when I was in the program, he was a great asset for us to know that I'm gonna get cheesy and sentimental right now, but he was the bridge to let us know when we were there that the odds of Texas are really upon you, right? The greats that were before us, that when we were playing for each other, but we were also playing for the guys that were before us, right? That's why we were so good back then, because we were playing for something bigger than ourselves. And the seniors was teaching us how to play for something bigger than ourselves, and it kind of trickled down. We lost that a little bit, and that's kind of where we had some down years. But I did not grow up Texas. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I took the recruiting process serious. When I got to Texas, there were some real guys that was like, I was going to Texas, no doubt. No matter where I got offers anywhere else, I was going to Texas. Mom and dad went to Texas, this, and that. And so for me, when I came to Texas, I had to really learn the culture of Texas. For a while, it was annoying, but then I understood. Like, coming to the University of Texas, it's a special place. Some of my best friends, Sean Clinch, would know this, are people that I never played with. Norman Watkins, Todd Hunt. Those guys played in the 90s. I was at my mom and daddy's house eating all the bonbons out of the pantry, I didn't know those guys, but they were my best friends today. Like, I can call on them. And that's what I guess part of what Bill installed in us as players, that when those other guys come around, they deserve a level of respect as well. And I think he had a big part of doing that. I don't know how to put that in words. Hopefully I did it justice right now. But, it's a big part of why I love where I went to school right now,
Stevie, Danny, that the two of you really put it all together, all the pieces, and painted the picture that was Bill Little and his career. Both of you put together. That was beautiful. That was. I mean, it really was good tribute to him. And regardless of opinion, I think 81 years, and to spend as long as he did at one employer and university since he was in his college year, that's pretty impressive. And there's loyalty there. We're going to wrap things up, but first, a message. We got a quick little promo from our big sponsor, Shoal Creek Saloon. We've waited nearly 9 months for it, and finally, the season has arrived. High school football, as you all know, is a religion here in the great state of Texas, and it all begins this week with one of the state's best inner-city rivalries, the Taco Shack Bowl. And this right here is the trophy awaiting the winner, the McCallum Knights and the Anderson Trojans at House Park Stadium Thursday night. It's also time to solidify those pregame plans for the Taco Shack Bowl and for all games at House Park Stadium this season. Shoal Creek Saloon is your headquarters for all high school football games at House Park. Ice-cold beverages, good eats, and plenty of space. An ideal marriage, high school football in Austin and Shoal Creek Saloon for your pregame plans. Ready for the Taco Shack Bowl by now. I mean, Danny, I'm going to do something for you. I want to be sure to have a cold beverage in your honor at Shoal Creek Saloon.
I know they're a sponsor, and it's a fine establishment, but I would need some of these parents to chill with their pregame tailgating. I think some of these parents and fans of age get a little out of control before they head on down to House Park. I'm going to need them to, maybe have one or two beverages and maybe not as much as some of the parents I've seen over the years.
I love that.
I've never experienced this. No, maybe I should. You got me wanting to go now. I need to check this out.
I've got 2 extra tickets.
Oh, wow. That's funny. When is it? Friday?
No, it's Thursday.
I got a tournament, man. I got this volleyball. High school volleyball, man.
God bless. Well, I will be as a fan for the first time ever. So I'll be sure to capture these moments Danny is referring to.
Gotcha. I appreciate that.
I won't put them on social media, just be in private. So, but I know exactly what he's talking about. I've seen a few instances.
Do not repeat the Alamo Bowl at the Taco Shack Bowl. There's these are kids, not a college event. Leave
I would. Yeah.
No, I think Sean should.
No,
we do not. Moderate celebrating, please.
Yes, something for a little to wet the palate, so to speak.
There you go.
Hey, big question. I know what you're going to say, Stevie, but the Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian's third edition, just like last year, the big game. It's number 2. What happens in Tuscaloosa?
So Rice is going to be a good competition coming in our stadium on the first game. So the most important game is Rice right now. So we're going to take care of Rice. That's number 1. And I think that they'll have in college football. Rice, yeah. That's the most important game, man. Why are we talking about Tuscaloosa, man? Why are we talking about Alabama?
That's just what we do.
No, man. The most important game is the next game, right?
Right. If you're a player.
and I got one more play in me. I know that my knees will go out after that first play, but I got one. I'm still a player sometimes in the heart, right? So the most important game is the next game, and the next game is Rice. Now, that all said, I'm really excited about it, man. I'm really, really excited about it. So, what usually happens, call those first games whatever you want to call it. I don't, I'll let y'all say whatever y'all want to call it. But, you break camp, right, after 2 days. And then there's a week where you start school, right? And that week typically is not game week. So you do implements, you're implementing an offense in a script that week, which is this week right now. You're implementing a script to your big game, your next big game. All the while, you're hearing the coaches playing coaching psychological warfare in your head. The next game is the most important game, but we're going to run this against Rice, coach? No, just the next game is the most important game. And we're game planning. We know in the back of our head who we're game planning against for this week. And then next week is actually game week. So these kids will come back to campus on Monday, or I don't know exactly what their schedule is, and we've had our hard practices on Tuesdays. And so that practice will be actually on Rice. But we still remember what we did this week right here. And then play Rice, hopefully take care of business. And then we go back to what we already learned a week ago. I think it's going to be a good game, man. We had a couple bad calls against us. And, Danny, I would love to hear what you want to say or what you have to say about that game last year and what the future holds in Tuscaloosa. But, Coach Saban is still playing the psychological games. Did he even announce his starter yet? Yeah, so they really have work to do there, The work that we had to do last year, they still have to do it this year, They have to do it now this year. And so there's a great chance Listen, I'm so tired of everybody being afraid of Nick Saban. Let's get this out of the way. Nick, we beat Nick before, okay? I know he probably have a little bit up on us, but we beat him before. No one's afraid of Nick Saban, guys. Let's just go in there, play our game, and we'll pass. That's all we need to do. That's all. So is that what you wanted out of me? But Rice is the most important game. It's the next game, okay?
That was good. That was
okay.
That was very detailed. It was high energy. That was thorough. I liked it.
All right, Danny, go.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the Texas Rice game is the next most important game for Rice. As for Texas, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's reasons to be excited about that game if you're a fan. This is the first chance to see this team. It's obviously the season opener. If you're a player, you had better not be overlooking this team. I mean, Texas should beat Rice. They should beat them handily, but this is still a decent Rice team that has a veteran quarterback with the JT Daniels coming in. So, I mean, you have to take them seriously. But, I mean, let's be honest. I think all of us are going to be looking ahead towards Alabama probably by halftime, or something went wrong for this Texas team. But I don't think that message is incorrect. It's definitely the message that Steve and his coaches and his players have been hammering home all fall camp. Whenever there's an Alabama question brought up, we're talking about Rice. Not even really talking about Rice now. They're talking about focusing on ourselves and getting ready for Rice. And the Rice questions will start to come in next week. But, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to get that up and excited for a Rice game. But, like the Taco Shack Bowl, it'll be fun to be watching football again. It'll be interesting to see what this Texas team looks like against a decent season opening test and opponent with Rice. But, I mean, Alabama, no one has had Rice circled on their calendar. That Alabama game has been circled on a lot of people's calendars, and I get the message. But I also know this: if we pulled out your daughter's volleyball schedule and there's a big rivalry game on Thursday, you might be more excited about that one than some team that they're going to sweep in murder on a Tuesday. I know that too.
I get that, and I understand what you're saying. But in this situation, the first game is always circled because, well, back in my day, which was a long time ago, we circled that game because we got tired of hitting each other. Right?
I get it.
We were so tired of hitting each other, so tired of walking back to the dorms and there's nobody else on campus. That first week when school came back in and all the young ladies started to walk on campus, you kind of walk with your chest out a little bit. You had a little stride going back and forth, And so we got tired of hitting each other, so we were ready for that first game, But I hear what you're saying. I got it. But we circled that first game too, because the simple fact of we get to hit somebody else. We're playing with live bullets here, So we get to put a quarterback on the ground. Like, we got kicked out of practice for touching Chris Sims, for touching VY, for getting anywhere near Major Applewhite. Like, if Major is following through and he hit his hand on my stomach or my chest, not even my helmet, I'm kicked out of practice. So I'm tired of that. I'm finna go hit a quarterback in the mouth where it's legal and I can stay in the game. You know what I mean? So
I'm talking about, Stevie, you're bringing the energy tonight. I love it.
This game is circled too, man. The most important game is the next game. And the next game is what, Sean?
The first game.
Who's the next game?
Are we talking about after Rice?
Come on, guys. Let's not look past the first game.
Let's go. Rice Owls, man.
Rice Owls is the next game.
I'll tell you this. To wrap it up, I think Texas goes in there and they win. And they don't just win. I think they pull away in the fourth quarter. It'll be close.
Yeah.
Alabama has more seasoned talent than Texas, but I think there's a mental advantage, and I would hope that there's some incentive to make good of some things that didn't go their way in that game.
Yeah.
I think Texas wins 7 to 9 points in Tuscaloosa. I really do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears.
But it does now. Now there's going to be false hope there. That everyone wants an undefeated season. It doesn't mean that they're not going to lose to somebody on the schedule. That'll be huge for this team to win at Tuscaloosa. But it's a good start.
And once again, you need to shut your dirty mouth.
I need bar of soap like my G-Mall Clinch would do with ivory soap. It's horrible.
Yeah, man. Now, well, I hear what you're saying, man. I think that we take it one game at a time, really, though, and just handle business that one game at a time. And there are going to be some teams that are going to, have our number, and that we have to grind out and actually grind to win. But I think these guys can do it. I hear a lot of people have them picked to win the Big 12. I have them picked to win the Big 12. Stevie Lee said it here first. We're going to win the Big 12. And so to do that, there's some tough teams within the Big 12. I mean, we still got to get past TCU. We still got to OU. That's a toss-up game, man. You never know what happens in Dallas, So Baylor is, I used to say they're a flash in the pan. Well, that flash has been going on for a little while now, And then Oklahoma State. Do we play them here this year? I can't remember. Yeah, we played them there last year. No, well, we don't play them this year. No. Okay. So,
off the schedule.
Yeah. So, and then BYU always had our number, right? That's an interesting game for me.
They have dominated Texas in recent history, dating back to '88.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish you wouldn't bring that up, but yeah. So, and then we got U of H. U of H could come in and beat us, and that would make their millennium. So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of people that circle Texas on their schedule. You know what I'm saying? So every game we got to bring it.
There's nobody named Taysom on the BYU roster, so that's good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, Danny, Stevie, we got to honor the great creators on TikTok. I wouldn't call this a great creator, and it may have been scripted. I think it was, but it was rather humorous between a father and a son, and it's not safe for work. I watched it twice, and I literally cried a tear out. It was that funny to me.
Why are you looking at them girls like that?
You look good. That's why I'm looking at it like that.
But Dad, they're not even your age.
Do it look like I give a fuck? Do it look like I give a fuck and I don't? Age ain't nothing but a number. You'll learn that when you get older. Plus, I'm just looking.
That's beside the point, R. Kelly. You looking at them little girls like that, and you're gonna be looking at me through a glass window when you in jail.
Shut the hell up, Sean. You don't know what you're talking about. Plus, I'm looking at her right there, and I don't little girls.
Miss Penny? That should weigh like 400 pounds. Plus, she in a wheelchair.
I'm not talking about Miss Penny. Her right there.
Oh, Miss Johnson.
That's right.
I heard she used to be a man.
Shut the hell up, Sean. She ain't used to be no man. What are you talking about? She's just a tall tree, and I want to cut it down. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, before you cut it down, make sure you cut that branch off.
Get the hell out of there. I told you, shut the hell up.
Oh, man, hey, man, I'm not touching that one, man.
I'm not either.
I'm not touching that one. Yeah, my wife is the director of DEI, so I'm just going to leave that there.
I need to know what your TikTok algorithm is. That video popped up and you decided to watch it. I mean, Stevie, I don't know about your house. We don't talk about R. Kelly in mine right now, so I don't know what's going on with Sean, but that's definitely an interesting choice.
No, they actually are one of my favorite creators, man. That is a father-son, and they are hilarious. They really are. So I haven't seen that one though, man. That's good.
Dad looked a little too intense.
Yeah, man.
Hey, let's end things with some positivity and not about R. Kelly.
No.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
All right, who wants to go first?
Danny, we usually don't go this long, but we really appreciate your time. and we're going to give you the first opportunity to tell us something good because there's always something good going on in the Davis household.
I mean, we mentioned it a bunch of football seasons here. I mean, I'm excited. That's something good, We live up in Cedar Park, right over by Gupton Stadium and in the Palace in Palmer. So I may take my 3-year-old to his first high school football game this weekend and see how long he lasts and see how fascinated he is by the sights and sounds. And I'm ready for high school football. I'm ready for college football. My fantasy football draft is right around the corner, so I'm ready for NFL football. I'm just ready for football. It's been a long summer, and anytime we can talk about football, I guess that qualifies as something good. So I'll just say that and say go Knights and let it be.
Yeah.
Let it be. Like it. I like it. Stevie Lee.
Man, something good is the University of Texas home games. I have a really, really good time going out to Todd Hunt's tailgate, the best damn tailgate on the 40 acres. That's the name of the tailgate, guys.
We need to bring Danny over there.
Yeah, come by and see us. A bunch of old, young, not current, but old and young players, old players from the 90s all the way down to the players that played in the what is the aughts or the 2010s and just come out and hang out with us, man. I love that. I talked to my wife and my kids. I was like, we going to the first game, guys. It's coming up. And they're like, I'm like, and we're going to go tailgate early. The game's at 2:30. They're like, no, we're not going to the tailgate early. We're not. You can go by yourself, Dad. And I was like, all right, I'll do that by myself. I love going out there hanging out. That's something good for me, man. I get to see my brothers that are in the T Association. We now have other sports come by. A bunch of swim girls, soccer girls, track guys. All those guys come by to the tailgate now, man. It's really a good time. And I get to see everybody. It's a little reunion every time we go. So that's something good for me. Just come by the tailgate and then just go in the game and beat the hell out of Rice.
There you go. The first game of the year is always the most important, right?
The most important.
I'll tell you something good. Well, 1A, 1B, real quick, 1A. I'm going to do my best to have Danny Davis escorted. We'll escort Danny over to the east side by the track station to make an appearance before he goes to work in the Bill Little press box. And we'll give you a water.
Yeah. His face was like, man, I ain't coming over there.
It's going to be 100 degrees outside. I ain't walking around anywhere. I'm going straight from the garage to the press box. And
wait, what garage are you in?
Rover Garage. That's where they usually put the media.
Where?
Brazos
garage.
Oh yeah, you're out of the way. I was gonna say if it's the garage right there, just come out the garage and we're right there.
On the other side. Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you something good. This is something. What's been beautiful is we're all going to experience it. It happens. It's inevitable. Life is full of gains and losses, but you adapt to it. But there's a lot of firsts for me coming up. Like Danny mentioned, that picture of Mama C with the Taco Shack bowl hat on. She usually gives me a call after that, wherever, and mildly rubs it in if McCallum wins. But she was an Anderson mom. But a lot of firsts, but been a lot of support that I probably don't deserve or ask for. But that's something good. As I think this entire football season is going to be absolutely amazing with a new perspective, if that all makes sense. It is because of people like you both. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, man. No, I know this is it's a little bit hard for you, man. I know this will be your first game without Mama C. So thoughts and prayers are with you. But you got your brothers to lean on. We'll be around. 100%.
Right? I'd do the same for you guys. Zero hesitation.
Absolutely.
And Sean, I will pick up the slack about the shit talking if McCallum wins.
Oh my God! If that's what happens, I will answer it quickly and start laughing immediately because I know what's coming. Because I deserve it. If we lose to McCallum Anderson, I'm ready. I'll be ready for Danny's call. I'll be patiently waiting for it.
I didn't know if I was allowed to swear on this podcast, but I figured if we talked about R. Kelly, that was probably the least of anyone's concerns about what I said. So,
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. Guys, I appreciate it. Nice episode. And for you guys watching, go enjoy high school football this today, Thursday, and then tomorrow, Friday, because this is when you'll start seeing this episode, and enjoy some college football for the first time. There's a few games from all levels. It's beautiful. So for the pride of the University of Montana, go Grizz, Danny Davis, the pride of Shreveport, Louisiana, and yes, McCallum. That's the rival. LCA all day. And for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Harge and Big Mike and Coach Mo, what do we tell them, Stevie Lee?
We out.